You're the first person I've ever seen try this hard not to look at me. Honestly, that says more than looking would.
I meant for it to.
You're the first person I've ever seen try this hard not to look at me. Honestly, that says more than looking would. The entire restaurant held its breath. The only thing that moved was the candlelight on the table. Kang Yi-hyun, the most feared name in Seoul, was for the first time in his life at a loss for words. The evening wasn't supposed to go like this. His secretary had secured the reservation at 7 o'clock sharp, and only 2 words were written on the booking sheet. Blind date. Yi-hyun went through this ritual 3 times a year, without fail. Show up. Sit down. Endure an hour. Disappear. It didn't matter who was on the other side of the table. Nothing ever changed. Until tonight. The moment Shayna Walker walked in, Yi-hyun's fingers stopped. His fountain pen went still on the document for exactly 0.3 seconds. Not a single person in that restaurant caught it. But Yi-hyun himself knew. Something was off. Shana took her seat. She'd been in Seoul for 6 months, having crossed over from New York. The senior translator position at Taeyang International, one of Seoul's biggest law firms, wasn't something she'd wanted. She was just paying the bills while she searched for traces of her father in a city that had swallowed him whole. The blind date had been half forced on her by the firm's managing partner. When she heard the name Kang Yi-hyun, it meant nothing to her. A name every person in Seoul knew by heart, and Shana had never heard it once. That was the first reason this night would go completely off script. He won't even look at me. Or is he doing that on purpose? For exactly 50 minutes after Shana sat down, Yi-hyun bounced between his phone and his documents. He didn't touch the bread. When Shana tried to start a conversation, his eyes never left the screen. He answered, 1 word at a time. Yes. No. That's correct. He could have been a chatbot. Shana slowly set her napkin on the table. She took 1 sip of water. Then she stood up. Every head in the room turned. In the history of this restaurant, no one had ever gotten up first from a table with Kang Yi-hyun. You fell for me, didn't you? That's why you can't look me in the eye. Yi-hyun's fingers stopped again. This time, it wasn't 0.3 seconds. It was much longer. Shana picked up her bag. But before she could take a single step, she felt it. A gaze. Pressing into her back, Yi-hyun's eyes. On her, for the very first time. She didn't turn around. If she had, she would have frozen. Because Kang Yi-hyun was smiling. That smile no one in this city had ever seen just once. And only once. Don't turn around. Do not turn around. She didn't. That was the second reason this story exists. The next morning, a package arrived at the 32nd floor translation office of Taeyang International. Recipient Shana Walker. Sender blank. Inside was a document envelope and a single handwritten note. 1 line. That was all it said. Thank you for your time last night. Here's a new assignment. Kang Yi-hyun. Shana read it 3 times. On the second read, her brows pulled together. On the third, a short laugh slipped out. Thank you for your time. She was the one who'd walked out, and he was acting like she'd done him a favor. The nerve. But work is work. She opened the envelope. Her fingers stopped. Stamped across the top of the first page, KI Group Legal Division. The opposing party in the case she'd been translating for the past 3 months. Her heart knocked once offbeat. There's no way this is a coincidence. That afternoon, Kang Yi-hyun showed up at the firm in person. Shana's team manager bowed from the lobby. The whole office buzzed. Yi-hyun walked through all of it like he didn't see any of it, and stopped right in front of Shana's desk. Shana didn't look up. She kept her eyes on the document in front of her. I've never had a client walk up to my desk before. Neither have I. A short silence. Shana slowly lifted her head. Unlike last night, Yi-hyun was looking straight at her. She couldn't read what was in his eyes right away. Not cold, not warm. Just like he had no intention of letting her slip away. If any questions come up during the translation, contact me directly. No middlemen. He held out his business card. Shauna didn't take it. Clients don't give me their direct line. Mind telling me why? The documents are sensitive. I know that. That's exactly why I'm asking. Yi-hyun didn't answer. He set the card on her desk and turned to leave. But he didn't make it 2 steps before he stopped. Back still turned, he spoke. You didn't look back last night. Shauna's fingers went still on her pen. Why? Because there was no reason to. A lie. Shayna was the only one who knew that. 3 days passed. Yi-hyun reached out once a day, every day. Translation questions. Short and precise. Shanna answered the same way, short and precise. Then on the 4th day, his message was different. Have you eaten dinner? Shayna stared at that message for 10 full seconds without moving. Then she typed back, anything that's not a translation question gets billed separately. His reply came back fast. Go ahead and bill me. Shayna laughed, then immediately caught herself. This was the 2nd time this cold, impossible man had made her laugh. Outside the office window, Seoul's night was settling in. A week later, Yi-hyun appeared at the cafe, where Shayna worked late evenings sitting in the window seat directly across from her. No reservation. No heads up. Shayna looked up from her laptop. Yi-hyun ordered an Americano, pulled out some documents, and looked completely like someone who just happened to end up in the same place. Shayna knew it wasn't a coincidence. Yi-hyun knew too. Neither of them said a word about it. An hour passed. Then 2. As midnight crept closer, Shayna closed her laptop first. She packed up her bag, and on her way out, paused in front of Yi-hyun's table. She looked down at him. I'm the only one who knows your heart is beating. Yi-hyun's coffee cup tilted ever so slightly on the table. Just a little, but Shayna caught it. The same hand that had frozen for 0.3 seconds the first time he saw her this time, it stayed still for a full second. The one man in this city nobody had ever rattled. Rattled by a single sentence from Shayna. Yeah, I know. Mine is too. Shauna walked out without looking back. The cold Seoul air hit her cheek. Behind her, she heard the scrape of a chair. Yi-hyun getting up. First. For the first time. 3 days after that night. Shayna was heading down the stairs of a subway station on her way home when 2 men she didn't recognize fell into step beside her, one on each side. No words, they just matched her pace. Shayna took a slow, steady breath. Don't scream. Get somewhere crowded. Then the men stopped. Shayna stopped too. At the bottom of the stairs, just in front of the turnstiles, stood a man in a suit. Yi-hyun's personal secretary, Choi Min-jun. One look from him, and the 2 strangers dissolved into the crowd. Shayna exhaled. The car is waiting, Ms. Walker. Shauna studied him for a long moment. Then she asked, Kang Yi-hyun sent you? The car is waiting. That was answer enough. Yi-hyun was in the car. Not up front, not on the far side of the back seat, right next to where Shayna would sit. When she opened the door and got in, he was looking out the window. The car pulled away. Neither of them spoke for a while. You going to explain what that was? What do you mean? Those 2 guys. And why your secretary happened to be standing there? Yi-hyun didn't take his eyes off the window. His jaw was set hard. The documents are at a sensitive stage. The translator's safety matters. That's the firm's job, not yours to handle personally. For the first time, Yi-hyun pulled his gaze from the window. He looked at Shayna. Shayna looked back. The car felt smaller than it was. I was in the area. A subway station staircase was just somewhere you happened to be? He didn't answer. He turned back to the window. The tips of his ears had gone the faintest shade of red. The lights of Seoul's nighttime streets streaked across the glass. Are his ears, are they actually red right now? The next day, Yi-hyun's office. Park Do-gyun, Yi-hyun's right hand, and KI Group's head of strategy, was slouched on the couch. Same age as Yi-hyun, but the kind of guy who smiled too easily. Not many people knew what lived behind that smile. Hey, that translator. Shayna Walker. Yi-hyun didn't look up from his documents. The assignment is in progress. Not about that. Word is, your secretary showed up at a subway station last night. A short silence. You gave the order yourself. You're tracking her movements. Document security. Yi-hyun. Doogyun dropped the smile. First time. Cut her loose. Get a different translator. You show a weak spot right now, and our people won't sit still. Yi-hyun closed the document. Slowly, he looked at Do-gyun. Do-gyun was the only person in this room who recognized that look, and knowing it, he went quiet. Anyone who touches her, I'll finish it myself. The air in the office shifted. Do-gyun held Yi-hyun's gaze for a beat, then stood up from the couch. The smile came back, but his eyes didn't join it. Fine, do what you want. After Do-gyun left, Yi-hyun stood at the window for a long time. Seoul's skyline pressed flat under a low ceiling of clouds. He tapped his desk once with one finger. A single knock. It echoed through the empty office. I've crossed the line. Let's step back for a second. Kang Yi-hyun had lived his entire life by exactly one rule. Emotions don't get a vote when it comes to decisions. And right now, this man is breaking that rule himself. The scary part? Yi-hyun was the first one to know it. But Shayna still has no idea. No idea what this cold, calculated man has put on the line for her. It was a Friday night. Shauna was working late alone on the 32nd floor of the law firm, spreading open the last stack of documents. One of the fluorescent lights had been flickering. 3 days since she'd asked someone to fix it. 5 stacks total. The first 4 were fine, but flipping to the 3rd page of the 5th stack, Shayna's hand stopped cold. A date jumped out at her. 7 years ago, and one named James Walker. Why is my dad's name in here? Her fingers trembled. She turned the page, then the next. The color drained from her face with every line. Seoul Commercial Building Investment. Forced contract termination. Overseas investor assets frozen. And at the bottom of the last page, a final approval stamp. KI Group. Kang Yi-hyun. What is this? Shauna didn't move for a full hour. She read the documents again. Then again. 7 years ago, her father James had started a business in Seoul and lost everything overnight. His investment locked up, his contracts torn apart, boarding a flight back to the States. After that, he never once brought up Seoul. The reason Shana had come here at all was to find the answer to that silence. And now, that answer was sitting right there on a single page, with Kang Yi-hyun's name stamped across it. Shayna picked up her phone. She pulled up Yi-hyun's number. 2 rings. Miss Walker. Where are you right now? Yi-hyun paused. Why? I need to see you. Right now. Another pause. Then he spoke. I'll come to the firm. 15 minutes. That's how long it took Yi-hyun to arrive. Shauna was standing on the front steps of the building, the documents clutched in her hand. When Yi-hyun stepped out of the car and saw her face, he stopped walking. He'd never seen her look like that. Shauna held the documents out toward him. Yi-hyun didn't take them. His eyes said he already knew. The moment she saw that something inside Shayna's chest gave way. James Walker. He's my father. The wind passed between them. Yi-hyun didn't look away. Did you know? That I was his daughter. Yi-hyun said nothing. That was its own answer. Shayna's eyes began to waver. From the blind date? From the moment you sent the assignment to the firm? Or from the first time you heard my name? Yi-hyun kept his eyes on her. He didn't run. That made it worse. Do you have any idea what happened to my father 7 years ago? He lost everything. Overnight. And he never talked about it again. Not once. For the rest of his life. Was that you? Shauna's voice broke at the end. Yi-hyun slowly opened his mouth. I didn't ruin your father. I was trying to protect him. Shayna stopped breathing. What are you talking about? Come inside. This is going to take a while. The lobby of the law firm. Past midnight, the front desk empty. Just the two of them, sitting across from each other on a couch. Yi-hyun started talking. For the first time. From the beginning. 7 years ago, James Walker had come to Seoul to invest in a commercial building. His partner was a broker, connected to Yi-hyun's group at the time. But that broker had built a scam using James as bait to pull in bigger money. Yi-hyun found out right before the contracts were signed. There were two options. Stop the broker or get your father out first. You could have just stopped the broker. There was a bigger player behind him. I didn't have the power to touch them back then. And there was no time. Shana studied his face. Yi-hyun's eyes didn't waver. It wasn't the look of someone lying. But somehow that made everything more confusing. You were trying to protect him? All of this was to protect him? Yi-hyun looked at her for a moment. Then, for the first time, he dropped his eyes. Just once. Just briefly? That was the most honest answer Kang Yi-hyun was capable of giving. 7 years. Not a single word. The fluorescent light flickered. The lobby went dark for a split second, then came back. In that brief darkness, Shauna closed her eyes. Somewhere between the anger and the confusion, something without a name was slowly rising to the surface. 2 days. Shana didn't reach out to Yi-hyun. He didn't reach out either. A notice came to the firm the translation assignment was temporarily on hold. Short. Professional. Shana read the text 3 times and flipped her phone face down. This is right. Keeping my distance is the right call. But on the 3rd evening, an unknown number called her phone. She picked up. An old man's voice she didn't recognize. Is this Shana Walker? I'm Yi-hyun's father. Shana stood completely still, phone pressed to her ear. They met the following morning at a small Hanok tea house on the outskirts of Seoul. Kang Byung-soo, Yi-hyun's father, was in his mid-70s. His back was curved with age, but his eyes carried the same look as his son's. When Shana sat down across from him, the old man poured the tea himself. Yi-hyun has never mentioned you to me, but he's talked about your father. Shana set down her cup. About what happened 7 years ago. He did push James Walker out, that part's true. But what he did after that, I doubt he told you. After? Took 2 years to take down that broker. The whole time the assets that were frozen, Yi-hyun covered them himself. His own money. Anonymously. Your father still doesn't know. Shana's hand slowly tightened in her lap. Why didn't he say anything? That boy, he never learned how to explain himself. Never has. Not since he was born. The old man wrapped both hands around his teacup. Wind moved outside. The wind chime at the edge of the Hanok Eve rang out, clear and clean. And the blind date Yi-hyun volunteered for that himself. After he found out Mr. Walker's daughter had come to Seoul, he volunteered. Shana left the tea house an hour later. Her feet wouldn't slow down. She just walked. Seoul's alleys narrowed, then opened up again. Inside her head, pieces were clicking into place. The way he wouldn't meet her eyes at the blind date, showing up at the cafe across from her, sending his secretary to that subway staircase, and the way he dropped his gaze, just once, in the lobby. He's not someone who can't speak. He's someone who's been doing everything instead of speaking. Shana stopped walking. She took out her phone, pulled up Yi-hyun's number. The line rang. Once. Twice. Miss Walker. Shana took a breath. Where are you right now? Why? I'm coming to you. A long silence. Shana waited. Yi-hyun spoke. The office. Shana started walking. This time, she knew exactly where she was going. 35th floor. KI Group headquarters. Shana pushed open the door to Yi-hyun's office herself. Choi Min-jun moved to stop her, then caught Yi-hyun's look and stepped aside. Shana walked in. Yi-hyun was standing at his desk, holding a document. He put it down. She stopped 2 steps away from him. The air between them was wire-tight. Shana spoke first. I met your father. Yi-hyun's eyes shifted barely, just once. 7 years. You covered it all anonymously. Why? It was what needed to be done. That's it? Yi-hyun said nothing. Shayna took another step toward him. What about the blind date? Volunteering for that, was that also just what needed to be done? Yi-hyun's jaw tightened. And then slowly, so slowly, something let go. Something that had never let go before in his entire life. He opened his mouth. No. Then what was it? I wanted to see what kind of person James Walker's daughter turned out to be. Shanna stopped breathing. And then the moment you pushed back from that table and stood up, the reason changed. Shayna's eyes slowly filled. She couldn't tell if it was tears or something else. Yi-hyun raised his hand for the first time, moving it toward her face, slowly, then stopped, asking. Shayna nodded. His hand touched her cheek. The hand that Seoul called the coldest in the city in that one moment. It was warm. Kang Yi-hyun. You can't run anymore. And neither can I. Kang Yi-hyun was never the first to speak, but he was someone who filled every silence with action. Shayna Walker always spoke first, but she also knew when not to look back. Two people who couldn't have been more different, and it only took one smile, at one blind date, for them to recognize the empty space in each other. What is it that this story is really trying to tell us? The deepest feelings are almost always hidden in the places that look the hardest. There are people like Yi-hyun who stood guard over someone for 7 years without a single word. And there are people like Shiana, who walked alone through a foreign city, chasing a truth no one handed her. We spend so much time trying to confirm feelings through words. But real sincerity moves before words do, doesn't it? Just like that one smile in the restaurant held 7 years of weight inside it. The most important things in our lives might already be sitting quietly inside the smallest moments. So don't let a passing glance or a paused footstep slip by too easily. Someone's whole heart might be living inside it. This story is a work of fiction,